Contraception is important. Contraception is very important if the patients, if the women, they want to avoid any unwanted pregnancy in situations like if she's having some infection, she's having some chronic disease, and the disease is not well controlled. Even if she is having diabetes and it is not well controlled, then complications are going to increase for her and her baby. And sometimes these patients, they have like hereditary disorders, and they should not be conceiving naturally, they should be conceiving by artificial reproductive techniques. Why? Because they need to have this PGT. Remember, we did this pre-genetic testing in the last session, that it is important, because if some defect is running in the family, then it should be fixed first, and then we should allow this patient to go for a pregnancy. That is one thing. Okay. So which methods are useful for different age groups of the women? Are LARC method. LARC methods are long-acting reversible methods. They are suitable for this group of women. So first of all, what is the definition of LARC? LARC is any method which the woman has to use at less than once per month. Like they don't have to do it on daily basis. They don't have to do on weekly basis. They don't have to do on monthly basis, and they have to do like less than once a month. Like maybe they are doing it, taking the injections every 3 months, like that. Okay, or if the Implanon, Nexplanon is there, then it is kept there for longer periods of time. All LARC methods are suitable for nulliparous women. Yes, they can use many different types of even IUCD, like what? Like they can use Gynifix, which is just a rod, okay? Or they can use JDs. JDs is just like Mirena, but it has very low dose of levonorgestrel because it has only like 13 milligram. And the Mirena, it has like 52 milligram levonorgestrel, okay? So this one nulliparous woman, she can have it. Then, and this is not only the intrauterine, this can be Nexplanon, this can be subdermal, anything like that, okay? So LARC methods are usable for all nulliparous women. Then women who are breastfeeding, no effect on quantity or quality of breast milk. Then women who who just had an abortion, so it can be inserted or it can be started at the time of miscarriage, or like on her choice, like if she has not had this contact with a male and didn't have intercourse, and it is reasonable that she is not pregnant, or she has doesn't have any contraindication like the vaginal bleeding, or if it is she is coming like after 3 weeks, then you need to do the pregnancy test, urine pregnancy test, and then we can start progesterone methods. And then the woman with a BMI greater than 30, so LARC is also a good choice for them. Women with HIV, and we should encourage safer sex practice, like limit the number of partners. And then this is written, remember that these are written in America and the USA, so that's why they are using this terminology. And they should use this barrier method of contraception also, like condoms, or they can use like, or they can practice abstinence. Then women with diabetes, if they don't have like any serious complications, these LARC methods are good for them, okay? And they have many contraindications to using combined OCPs, but progesterone, yes, they can use safely. Then women with migraine, with or without aura, all progesterone only methods, they must be used. Then all women who have contraindication to estrogen, they can use LARC methods. Then what are the choices for adolescents? We can give them intrauterine devices, intrauterine systems, implants. No specific restrictions to use. Then depomedroxyprogesterone acetate. Care is needed, only use if other methods they are unacceptable or not suitable. Why? Because adolescents are those people who are like between, you can say like from the age 14, 14 like yeah, from age 13 to 19. Actually, adolescents are those, irrespective of their size, their thought process has changed due to the hormonal changes. They are acting like adults, okay? I told you when we were reading this precocious puberty that what is the difference between precocious puberty and adolescence. Precocious puberty is that the thinking process is immature and the body has grown up. Here, maybe the body has grown up, or maybe the body is not like an adult, but the thinking process, because of the hormones, they are active and they have sexual desire, so they want to use contraception to prevent unwanted pregnancy. Here, this DMPA or depometroxyprogesterone acetate, this is not a good choice. Why it is not a good choice? Because it can decrease the bone mineral density before the age of 25 years. And these children, teenagers, they are still growing up. So we need to take precaution. That's why we don't like to give them DMPA. Only you will give if all other methods they have failed. They are not acceptable, okay, or they are not suitable. Then you can give them injection. So the choice is for women more than 40 years old. They can have like intrauterine device, intrauterine system, they can have implants, and no specific restriction to use. Depometroxyprogesterone acetate care is needed, but generally it benefits all women and it outweighs the risks. So this is CAT 2 because category 2 where the benefit is more than the harm, so we are going to continue it. So then are the choices for women who are postpartum, including those who are breastfeeding. We can give them intrauterine device, intrauterine system, and it can be inserted from 4 weeks after childbirth. So the point is that if the woman wants it, we should insert just after, if she had a normal birth, we should insert it immediately after expulsion of placenta. So it will not fall, the chance will be higher than as compared to the non-pregnant state, but still it will be fine. So even if you are doing a cesarean section, the time when you are removing placenta, this can be inserted, thread can be pushed down, and then we can just suture the uterus. And this is particularly useful in those people who have had multiple cesarean sections, because you know that the cervix is taken up and it is very hard to insert the devices. Okay, so just after removal of placenta within 2 days you should insert, or if you have not inserted at this time, then insert after 4 weeks after childbirth. If you will put before that, then the chances of perforation are going to be very high because the uterus is involuting or it may fall off. Okay, so you can also give them depometroxyprogesterone acetate and the implants. Nowadays we are using Nexplanon. Okay, we are not using Implanon. That is a thing of the past. So the same substance, like it has etonorgestrel 68 milligram, but we call it Nexplanon. Okay, choices for women who are taking other medications. We can give them intrauterine systems, depometroxyprogesterone acetate, and no evidence that effectiveness of other medications reduced. Implants, they are not recommended for women who are taking enzyme inducing drugs because they are going to increase the metabolism of these drugs, so etonorgestrel, so the contraceptive efficacy is lost. Then choices for women with epilepsy. They should use intrauterine devices, intrauterine systems, depometroxyprogesterone acetate, and no specific contraindications. Depometroxyprogesterone, it may be associated with reduced seizure frequency, okay, because there is progesterone that is relaxant. Implants. Implants are not recommended for women taking enzyme inducing drugs. Why? Because of the accelerated metabolism. Choices for women at risk for sexually transmitted infections, intrauterine devices, intrauterine systems, and tests may be needed before insertion. As a practical rule, anyone who comes to you for insertion of these devices and she is less than 24, then you need to run tests for the chlamydia and gonorrhea. Okay, take the lobe vaginal swabs and send them for NAT, nucleic acid amplification test. You will not take endocervical swabs. You are going to take for the chlamydia. For chlamydia, write down, for chlamydia you will take vulvovaginal swab. Okay, that is your answer on the MCQs. For gonorrhea, you are going to take low vaginal swab. That is the thing. No concept of taking endocervical. These guidelines were changed like 2 years ago. Okay, so then depometroxyprogesterone acetate, DMPA, no specific contraindication, and provide advice on safer sex. So then What are the features of LART methods which you should be discussing with the woman? That how these things work. Okay, copper IUCD, it works by preventing fertilization and inhibiting implantation. And intrauterine system mainly prevents implantation and sometimes by preventing fertilization. So then the progesterone only injection, primarily it acts by preventing ovulation. Implants, they primarily act by preventing ovulation. For how long these should be used? 5 to 10 years for IUCD with copper 380 millimeter, depending upon the type. And until contraception no longer needed if the woman is 40 years or more at the time of insertion. So if she is you inserted at 40 or after 40, then leave it in place. Okay. Why? Because once she will be postmenopausal and she was having regular periods and she is more than 50, then you can remove it 1 year after the menopause. But if her age is less than 50, then wait for 2 years after menopause and then you can remove it. Intrauterine other systems like Mirena, JDs, Levocert, Gynefix, these are all intrauterine systems. They are licensed for 5 years and until contraception no longer needed if the woman was 45 years or more at the time of insertion and doesn't have periods with intrauterine system in place. Progesterone only pills, if they're only injections, we are going to repeat them every 12 weeks for the DEPMA and every 8 weeks for the NETN. So these are like different injections. Like this one contains depometroxyprogesterone acetate and this one has noristeate. So this one is given every 8 weeks. Implants are given for 3 years, like Nexplanon, and they contain etonogestrone. What are the failure rates? IUCD, the failure rate is less than 2 in 100 women over 5 years. For IUD, with at least this is for the copper 380 containing this IUCD. Expulsion rate is less than 1 in 20 women in 5 years. Why they give 5 years? Because each year means that if a woman has used the drug, this method for 1 year, that is going to be considered a 1 woman year. So how many women are using in 1 year? That is going to be that certain number of the years. Okay, intrauterine system, the failure rate is less than 1 in 100, 100 women over 5 years. Expulsion rate is less than 1 in 20 women in 5 years. Then for the injection DEMPA, the fewer than the 0.4 in 100 over 2 years. And the pregnancy rates, they are lower for the DEMPA than the NETN. And the Nexplanon or the implants, the failure rate is less than 1 pregnancy in 1000 implants fitted over 3 years. So this one has the lowest failure rate. Then what are the effects on periods? Periods will be with the intrauterine system. Initially periods will be heavier or the patient will have dysmenorrhea. Why? Because this is a foreign body and patient will uterus will try to expel it. With intrauterine system also, the problem is that irregular bleeding and spotting, which is common in the first 6 months. Then oligomenorrhea or amenorrhea likely by the end of the first year. Then the injection DEMPA, the amenorrhea is common and is more likely with the DEMPA than the NETN, and with longer use they are not harmful, and persistent bleeding may also occur. In cases of implants, the bleeding patterns, they are likely to change during implant use and the bleeding may stop. It may become more or less frequent or be prolonged and dysmenorrhea may be reduced. Other risks like intrauterine system, up to 50% of the women, they will stop using intrauterine device within 5 years, and the common reasons are unpredictable bleeding, vaginal bleeding and the pain. And then in the cases of the intrauterine system like Mirena, up to 60% of the women, they will stop using intrauterine system within 5 years, and most common reasons are unacceptable vaginal bleeding and pain, and less common reason is hormonal bleeding. Okay. Then with the injection, up to 50% women, they will stop using Tempa by 1 year, and the most common reason is an altered bleeding pattern such as persistent bleeding. In cases of Nexplanon, the complication with the insertion and removal are uncommon and refer to the summary of the products like when they should be removed. So the ectopic pregnancy rates with the intrauterine systems, overall rates are lower than with no contraception. But if a woman becomes pregnant with IUD in situ, the risk of having ectopic pregnancy is about 1 in 20. So she should seek advice to exclude ectopic pregnancy. Similarly, for the intrauterine system, ectopic pregnancy, the overall rates are lower than with no contraception, but if a woman becomes pregnant with the intrauterine system in situ, the risk is about 1 in 20, so she should get it checked and take advice that there is intrauterine pregnancy. So, the injection, it may cause weight gain up to 2 to 3 kilograms over a year on the Tempa, and the bone mineral density, it will decrease. It is associated with small loss, which is largely recovered when the Tempa is stopped, and no evidence that the fracture risk is increased. The risk of perforation with the intrauterine copper CD, that is less than 1 in 1000. With Mirena, it is less than 1 in 1000. And then what are the effects of different drugs? No effect of intrauterine copper CD on IUCD with copper in the mood, on the mood or the libido, and there may be small effect similar for the intrauterine device and intrauterine system, like the same small effect, not much. And then what is the side effect of the injection Depo-Provera? There can be depression, acne, and headaches. Okay. And there is no evidence of copper IUCD on weight gain. And but this one, like Mirena, since it contains progesterone, there is risk of acne, and this is uncommon reason for stopping the drug. So usually it is not so bad, and no evidence that the patient is going to gain weight on Mirena. Then return of fertility. So if the woman is using IUCD and you have removed it, then she can conceive immediately. There is no evidence of delay. Even when she is using intrauterine system like Mirena, we will remove it and she can conceive in the next cycle. Okay, so no evidence that it will delay fertility. So, but if she was using injection, then it can return of fertility can take up to 1 year. And but women who do not want to get pregnant, they should start a different contraceptive as soon as they stop injections. So if she is using Nexplanon, again after removal, she can conceive, no evidence of delay. Regarding advice at the time of fitting the device, we need to tell the patient when you are inserting the intrauterine copper T that there may be pain and discomfort for a few hours and light bleeding for a few days. And watch for symptoms of uterine perforation. What are the symptoms of uterine perforation? She can have like bleeding, or when you are inserting, you will feel that you can push this plunger more and more inside the abdomen. Okay. So if there is a small perforation, patient is asymptomatic, we don't have to do anything. But if there is a large perforation, how you will know? Because your patient can complain of pain and she can have bleeding, or the gut, intestine, it may come out. So then you will have to go for laparotomy. That's why training is essential, and if you meet any resistance, don't use force. So the patient, the patient should return at any time if the problems occur, or if he wants to change the method. And we need to educate the patient that how she's going to check for the thread regularly. Okay. So if we have inserted Mirena, we need to tell the patient that there may be pain and discomfort for a few hours and light bleeding for a few days. And she should watch for, and we need to watch for symptoms of uterine perforation like for the IUCD, and follow up visit after first menses, or 3 to 6 weeks after insertion for both devices, for copper T as well as for Mirena. The patient should come back after 3 to 6 weeks. So and the patient should return if anytime she has any bleeding or she has any complication or she wants to change the method. And then returning for the injection, the patient should come for the next injection if there is any problem. So that's all they need to do. And then you should remember that when are you going to remove the next pronon? 3 months, 3 years from the date of insertion. That is one thing, okay? And then when she should, if they give to a patient who is late by 2 weeks for the Depo-Provera injection, it is okay, okay? You can still give her injection, because if you are giving it before completing the 14 weeks, then it is still effective. So, but if she is coming to you after completing like more than 2 weeks after the due date, then you need to tell her that she should use another method, or we are going to restart it. That is all you need to remember about LARC method.